Hi, I'm so glad you're going to be painting today. I've selected a daylily, and while I'm taping this today, it is a beautiful summer day. The sun is shining, and this just seemed like a perfect flower. Even if we paint it in the mid of winter, it'll bring back today. So if you're painting somewhere and it's cold, please just think hot temperatures and breeze and it's a great day. So I'm going to start first by spritzing my watercolors, and by just misting over the top. You can just drop little droplets of water on your paint if you don't have a little spray bottle. These are, right at $1 at a craft store, and they have a very fine mist. And so that puts moisture in the top of our paint so that now, as I try to get that pigment up into my brush, it'll be easy to do. Because, of course, if you don't have pigment and water in your brush, you can't very well put it on the paper. So I'm going to start by establishing the base of the flower, which is going to be something like this. Nothing very committal. And then this first petal is going to go off this way. Has a little lip there that comes over the side. Going to bring this down. This front petal is going to lift up, kind of make a little mountain there, come out, and then down. Might need an eraser on that to get rid of that. Then over here, this is going to lift up over and come down. Little jiggle. Come out the other side. Go down here. And then this part will kind of swing up there to even out that bottom. And I need an eraser. One jiffy. This is a kneaded eraser, Kneaded, and kneaded, as in I need it. You can kind of pull them to clean them. And I'm going to take off that little middle part right there because we need that petal to come over. Okay. And I keep it in plastic. This is the way you clean it. This may be a lesson in eraser cleansing. So this is the way you clean it, and then you can press it into the form you need to go in, clean up. And I'm going to put it back in there and put the top on. That way they don't dry out so much. Then I'll come back and fix that part. Okay, that's better. Now we're going to do our back petal over here. And then we're going to let this side of it come over here. And then on this next one, that's going to come up, kind of over, back down. And we're not going to see the back side of it. And then we're going to let the stamens and all be up here. They're kind of elongated. And then there's this one fellow that really sticks out, so we'll let him come way over here. All right, we're going to take care of the bottom of the flower. That's going to be behind that. We're going to let the stem come on down. It's kind of bulbous for a little bit, and then it kind of narrows a bit. And there we go. And we'll let just one leaf kind of come this way. And that will take care of us today. Oh, let's do one more. We'll let one pretend like it's coming from somewhere else. So that'll get us going. All right. I'm going to darken that a little bit to make sure you can see it well enough to create your own. And you know that your flower is going to look different from mine, and Mine would look different if I painted it at a different time of day today because our moods change. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, I'm going to dampen my brush. Get a little bit of that water off. And I think that I will start on this back side to establish some really rich tone back there. I'm going to dampen that one, and I'm going to dampen this one. And I'm not going to have it soppy wet. A good rule of thumb is to let that sheen go off the top of the paper. So it's beginning to penetrate now, and I'm going to have control of my paint as well as you can have control of paint with watercolor. You know, if you've painted with watercolor before, you know it has a mind of its own. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to put my first installment with orange. And my paint is going to follow where that water is that I've put underneath. That's good and rich. And I think this is going to be a great start. I think I'll bring that on over. Let that kind of fall around there. So far, so good, kids. Let's see. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm going to get crazy a little bit, and I'm going to do this rich red, and I'm going to put just a little bit into here and let that dry as this moves along. I'm seeing a raised area here, so I don't want to fill that in because I like that ridge work that's right there. Looking good, but I want more. Let's put more. I'm just going to drop it in, and I'm going to let the water and the pigment decide exactly where they're going to be because, again, you know they have a mind of their own. The more I paint, the more I learn. If I just let the materials I'm using kind of speak for themselves and go where they want to go, if I can, that the result is a lot better. So I'm going to put just a little bit of water in there. I'm going to put a little bit over here. I'm going to come down here, and this will start to soften the fibers of the paper. Now, that's going to bleed, and I'm not worried about it because I actually want that color over there, that's lucky, isn't it? Just a little bit in here. Now we can start to build that up. And I'm going to start with orange, but I know I'm going to add yellow into it. That's going to be cool. Let's see. Fabulous. Okay. You can't be unhappy when you're painting with orange. Moving right along. I'm going to put a little bit in here. I'm going to leave the white for now showing. And I think I am going to pretend like we can see a little bit down here. I think that'll be more interesting. So, now. And again, some of these places are going to bleed together, and I don't mind at all. What I am going to do, though, is use the hairdryer. And I'm going to hold it back so I don't blow all this wonderful paint in a million different directions. Okay, here we go. This is going to speed things up a bit. Thank goodness. Okay, almost ready. Stay with me. La la la. Oh, this will make things happen so much faster now. Okay, that's good enough. One time I was painting a portrait of somebody very famous, and it was in the era of needing to go to the photo shop a lot, and there was this lovely girl that said, "Oh, Miss Parsons, I would love to watch you work on that portrait." And I said, "Well, that'd be just fine." And so she came over, and a few days after she had watched me paint, she wrote me this sweet letter, and it said, "Miss Parsons, that was just like watching grass grow." So the, the idea was that it was a very slow process because it was in an old master style and not moving nearly at the speed that we're doing this today. I'm putting a little bit of yellow into our mix to kind of enliven it a little bit. And then I can see a little bit of a shadow along there on that ridge, and I'm going to do that in brown. And the browns and the darker greens will kind of help to let the beauty of the other colors show forth. So I'm going to bring a little bit there, a little bit under here. Going to give a little bit of depth there. We're going to add this under here. And just, I think we need some red in that part. Let's put a little bit of this one. Now, people say that you can't clean up a watercolor, but you can. I have basically a clean brush, and I put that tip right next to the line, and I'm just going to blot it. Hopefully I won't get my head over the painting where you can't see. There we go. All right, a little bit of brown. I'm going to come back and kind of pizzazz this up just a little bit more. Make that a little bit richer, I hope. It's always a personal decision about whether or not an artist has done something right. I know if you've painted much and show it to your friends and family, they all have an opinion. So sometimes it's good and sometimes you wish you hadn't done that. Now I'm going to bring that brown into here to kind of offset that a little bit. I'm going to come over here and do the same. And then hopefully this will work. I've got a clean brush, my water's just a little bit, and I'm going to hopefully make a line right through the middle. See how that lifted up to make that center part that you're seeing right here? I hope. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing over here. And on this side, I'm going to have to blot it a little bit to help lighten that area. Okay, that gives it a little bit more interest. And over here on this back side, I'm going to add a little bit of red back there. And I'm letting it extend on both sides of this petal so that it makes a transition. You probably have taken photographs where somebody, or in my case, I have left somebody standing in front of a tree or a telephone pole, and it looks like the telephone pole is growing out of the head. I call that the telephone pole syndrome. And I try not to do that when I paint. I want to let these passages, if there's a color over here, I want to let it be over here also. It makes the transition a little better. Okay, we need a little jazz color right there and right there. And it just worked out nicely. But on this side, we've let the white of the paper show through, and I'm going to leave that. In a watercolor, I'll bet you know already that the more accomplished we are, the more we will learn to plan for where we want our whites to be, because we can never with paint achieve the same white as the white of the paper. There's a little boo-boo there. Okay, I'm getting happier with this. It's getting more interesting. Now let's come down here, and when we put, I'm going to use this kind of limey green. I think that will set things off nicely down here. We'll find out. Red and green are complementary colors. So red never looks redder than it does next to green. So if I want to pop up these sunshiny colors, I am going to have to let that dry 1 second. So I'm going to use the hair dryer. Hang with me. Okay, we'll come back to that in just a minute because I want to add some more color. But right now, I'm going to just wet the interior of where we're going to have this leaf. It's going to come on along like this. And this may have happened to you. I see that the back of my hand has smeared my pencil, and I don't want that. So I'm taking, again, this Kneaded Eraser. I'm going to pull it to kind of clean it. And there's just a tiny little bit of shadow. You probably can't see it in the video, but I see it, and I don't want it. So, therefore, it's gone. Now we're cooking. And I want to get these little fibers out, because with the watercolor, you will see them. So you want to kind of move those around till they get off our paper. There we go. All right, ready to go. Now, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the lighter green down first, which would be that. Isn't that wild? And I'm going to let the white show through in some places, because it will, to me, it makes it much more interesting to have those highlights be from the white of the paper. And we're going to do one little doobie-doo there. Okay, and we're going to come down here. And I'm going to go ahead and drop a little bit of a Viridian green. The Viridian green is more of a blue-green. And I think I'm going to like this a lot. Yep, I do. I hope you do. And if you don't like what I do, please make yours better, because you're the only one that has to like your painting. I'm going to hit this with the heat of the hair dryer. 1 second. I want to get this dry on those edges so that as I paint this leaf, it doesn't bleed into it. There we go. Doing good. All right. Now I see that I've come out of my line a little bit, and I don't want to be out there. So I've just touched that little bit that was outside the line with the tip of my brush and cleaned that up. Now I'm okay with it over here and the other places. Happy with that. So now I'm going to put water inside the shape of the other leaf. Moving on down. Da da da. Goody. Now, amazingly, I think I can paint this way better. So that's what I'm going to do, because I'm right-handed and my hand will arc this way. So it makes it very simple for me to come along this line as opposed to trying to do it with the paper flat and being in a different direction. So there's no rule that you have to leave your paper straight up and down. And I do believe in doing things. I want it effective, but I don't believe in doing it the hard way. If there's a less difficult way to do it. Okay. Now, I want light going through here. So, and I want it to, so I'm just blotting that little bitty bit. And I like that. Then I have to clean up again because I'm out of the lines. There we go. Now, I'm going to turn this back around. Like what's happening here. It's just cheerful, just plain old cheerful. Now, if this leaf is over this one, there's probably going to be a shadow under here. So I'm going to add a little bit of that Viridian green to create a shadow there. And just for fun, I'm going to come up here, do a little bit there. Yep, so far so good. I hope you think so. There we go. Yay. Okay, now I can see that these guys are really brilliant orange. So I'm going to go back to our brilliant orange, and I'm going to put a little bit there, and here, and here. And this part is actually a browny yellow. So I'm going to mix a little bit together. And this is a round natural fiber brush. So it's going to hold its shape pretty well to let me come up and follow my line right on up here. Not too shabby. And then I'm going to blot where it kind of squiggled out over here. There we go. Might have to clean that up a little bit. And then I'm going to add a little red into that mix to make it even more lively. Okay, looking happy there. Now, you know, if this were still outside, sunlight would be sprinkled around, and I see one little dab of green. So I'm cleaning that up. We're clean. One little dab of green right there, or something. Don't know what that is. And I think what might be fun, have to clean up that paint a little bit where I brought the brown over. There we go. And I think it would be fun to do this. I have to get rid of that water right there because it's going to make a mockery out of that brush stroke if I don't fix it. And just for fun, I'm going to do just a little bit. A few little doodahs of sprinkled sunlight. And I'm happy. I'm fine that it went over that flower. I'm not fine that it got so big over there. So I'm going to take that off. But I like these. And I don't want to leave this section quite so lonesome. So I'm going to manufacture my own sunlight right there. And now we are done. I hope you've enjoyed this. Had a little sunlight and sunshine in your life today. And please go out and paint your own and have a wonderful time. Thanks for joining me.